Promote your brand here at Viral Hip Hop News. Hit me, Sam Ant, at dlsmediainc1 at gmail.com. dlsmediainc1 at gmail.com. Let's go.
Welcome to another episode of the Hip Hop Uncensored Podcast. I'm your brother, old guy from Hip Hop News Uncensored, and sitting across from me is my co-host.
What up, y'all? It's your man, Sam Ant, Viral Hip Hop News. You're in the building for a very special edition of the Hip Hop Uncensored Podcast. And fellas and folks, we got a very special guest in the building. Ladies and gentlemen, we got the legendary David Banner on the podcast. How you doing this evening, sir?
Man, I'm better than I ever been in my life, bro. This has been from a business perspective, man, and it's been one of the best years of my life, man. I'm quietly better than I've ever been before.
Great. Yeah, that's definitely great. It's definitely dope to hear, given two fans of your work, watching you since two young boys, and now seeing your development, your growth, and more importantly, your evolution. We're even better and bigger fans now where you're at your career and your life right now, man. So I just want to get right into it. So yesterday we had a conversation about Quando Rondo and his conversation with Angela Yee. And just to kind of use him as a focal point, we see these young kids in hip hop and we see what they're going through. We see the violence that they're going through on the phones, and what I don't really even know what to call it. I know we had our time and what we listened to in music, and they definitely had our period, but today seems a little more in depth. And I called them prisoners of war, so to speak. What do you think about the current climate in hip hop and what's going on with the youth and what they're dealing with, not only with social media, but in the streets and with the money and everything like that?
I believe that hip hop has always been a direct reflection of where we are culturally. And I think we spend so much time focusing on these children, and it's not the children, it's us. You know, similar to what our parents did by sitting us in front of video games, by sitting us in front of the television and running off and chasing an American dream that was never meant for them. I believe we did that in hip hop. You know, Big Crit was the one who actually showed me this, like, and Salih Robinson from my podcast, from the David Banner podcast. He was like, if you really think about J. Cole's generation, Kendrick Lamar's generation, Big Crit generation, there was only a few people that came from that generation because we didn't properly pass the time. So you have so many outlets that sit back and point their finger at these children instead of helping to raise them. We sit back and point at our children as if they're not our children. Our kids are a direct reflection of what we did or did not teach or do for them. So I think instead of looking at people from the outside, we should do more to protect and more to teach. You know, man, a lot of these kids, man, they wish that we would come in the studio with them, bro. Like, I'm starting to find that out now, that from a producer standpoint, I'm getting an opportunity to spend more time with these kids. It's like they were just put in front of a camera with no understanding. We didn't sign them. We were, and in the case of the South, what happened with us is that we didn't have nobody to really show us the business game. So we were just working to try to figure this game out. But what ended up happening was we left a gap in the music industry, and most people didn't properly pass the baton. So a lot of these kids are out there by themselves, man. When I went up to Ferguson, I remember the things that most of the revolutionaries that were outside in Ferguson, they're from the ages of 15 to about 24. And the thing that them kids kept saying, where's our elders? Like, as soon as the sun goes down and as soon as the CNN leaves, like, they leave. Wow. I think, bro, it's not their responsibility to come to us. They are the children. We are supposed to come to them. Fact. My opinion.
Fact. You were talking about Offset reaching out to you at a point in his life, and you made an analogy that, you know, a lot of these guys in the street, you know, they really just want somebody to go talk to, but they take their anger out in other ways. They kind of say fuck you because nobody's reaching down to them. Can you talk about, you know, Offset reaching out to you and that whole dynamic with the elders and the youth as well?
Well, no, he didn't reach out to me. What happened was I was driving down the street and I saw him.
Okay.
And I was like, yo, and he was like, OG. So he said, come over, and I pulled over, and then we just sat and talked for a minute.
Mm.
And like he just basically was like, yo, like, bro, I want to do better. I don't know how to. He's like, I just don't know how. And I remember that feeling with my father. My father used to always tell me, man, and like that's the difference between me and a lot of entertainers is I had a father in my house. My father did not play. As a matter of fact, up until my father got brain and lung cancer, I don't know, and I'm pretty good with my hands. I don't know if I could have ever taken my father physically up until he got sick. I always had a strong role model in my house. So the thing was, I used to tell my dad that, like, my dad would tell me to do stuff, and I was like, Dad, I just don't know how to do it. Show me better. And it's so crazy, and this is not just about the kids. This is about us too. And I'm speaking of myself too. We go and elect, or we'll get the most hood artist in the whole wide world, and that's the person that we elect as our spokesperson in hip hop. But then we expect them, if something goes wrong with the water in our city, we expect them to be chemists. If when it's time for politics, we expect them to be able to debate with politicians. But you didn't deem Talib Kweli, you didn't deem Killer Mike the leader of, we expect something out of these kids and out of these rappers that they didn't sign up for. And it's really not fair. A lot of times, and our generation should take responsibility over that. That's one of the only regrets that I have in my hip hop life, is that we ushered to these kids money over everything, and then we got mad when they chose money over everything.
Yeah. So with that being said, how do we get a stronghold over it? Because now we're sitting here as middle-aged men with children, with boys, with sons and daughters, with sons in particular. How do we get the stronghold back onto it so we don't continue to see the stuff and shit that we're still seeing?
You just do what you can. You just do what you can when you can. Like, man, I just did, and I know you know this because that's where the Offset thing came from. I just did the 85 South podcast, man.
Yeah.
And bro, those kids came from everywhere. I mean, a lot of them kids are like, we didn't even know who you were. Like, but like we want to learn. We want to learn. And I got so many DMs from people who's like, well, since you talking to the rappers, come talk to me. Yeah. And just offer yourself. Let people know that you're open. And just in you all's podcast, man, I know that it's more popularized and we get instant hits from being drama filled. But no bullshit, man. This is something that hurts me, bro. 90% of everything that's connected with hip hop destroys hip hop. And I'm talking about whether it's the hip hop sites, the podcasts, the rappers, the producers. It's like we say that we hip hop, but we hate each other. Mm-hmm. Like we don't build with each other. We don't. Okay, it's cool if we beefing, but why when somebody attack a hip hop artist, especially when there's no proof, we condemn that artist even quicker than the white folks do. Mm-hmm. And so what we can do, I just talked about this on Instagram this morning. When I went up to Ebony and Jet magazine, they told me the history of Ebony and Jet. And one of the elders pulled me to the side. He said, David Banner, it was as much sexual deviance, as much drama and music back when our parents and grandparents were in it. It was just an unsigned law that there's some stuff that we wasn't going to report about. Some stuff we ain't got to put on Front Street. Some stuff we shouldn't put on cameras. People spend so much time with cameras in their faces when you could have stopped it yourself. Why you going to go report it to somebody else? Put the phone down and help. Mm-hmm. So the thing that we can do to get a stronghold on our culture is stop complaining about where hip hop is and do something with the control that we have right now. I want you all to think about this. I
Mhm.
have this saying that if we wanted to clean the earth up, right, we could clean up 70% of the earth if everybody who owned something or lived in some place went just in their yard and picked up the paper in their yard. If you own a business, just pick up the paper in front of your business. Is if everybody did their part inherently and just stepped outside of where they live. If people would just take care of their kids, like don't worry about nobody else's kids. Don't worry about nobody else's city. Don't worry about nobody else's block. Most of these grown-ups who criticize these kids, they scared to talk to the kids that's on their block. Man, when the pandemic first happened, bro, these kids was I would make the black kids come sit on my steps. I never forget, man. That's when my clothing line had just blew up. Um, I came and brought my shoes out. I came and
Mhm.
brought my t-shirt out. And I told them I made this. I made this. I said, I didn't wait on somebody else to create this. I made this. I
Mhm.
sat down and told them, like the little girls in our neighborhood, y'all make sure that y'all look after these girls because one of the things is, man, it's sad, but a lot of us didn't have fathers, whether it was because crack, whether it was because the way America attacked the black male body and put us in jail, whatever it may end up being. So we got to be each other's father. Charlemagne told me, man, and it shocked me, bro. I asked Charlemagne, I said, Charlemagne, man, why these kids love me the way that they do? Like they don't know my music. He said, man, because a lot of these kids don't have fathers. And in the same way that they go to Pornhub for sex and, you know, go to school online and all these other things, a lot of these people find their fathers online too. So Charlemagne was like, you, Tip, UTI, Killer Mike, and he named off a couple other people. He said, y'all are a lot of these children's fathers, whether you like it or not. So what I try to do is I try to in my own way try to do what I can with the power that I have.
Definitely. If you may, let's go back a little bit, man. I'm curious to know. You're from Mississippi, a small town in Mississippi. How was your upbringing in Mississippi, man? Could you let our audience know about that? How'd you kind of
Yeah,
grow up?
actually, I'm from a fairly big town. I'm from Jackson, Mississippi.
Oh,
We,
okay.
we when I was growing up, Jackson, Mississippi was the murder capital of the United States. We I don't. It's hard, man. I don't know if y'all go through this. When people ask you about your childhood, you don't really look at it as special or bad. It's just what it was. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah.
It was real violent, but that's how it always been. The only thing about Mississippi that was a little bit different is um it was so peaceful and so beautiful until it wasn't. And
Mhm.
it would turn into hell, and then they wipe up the blood, and then it'd be back, the South again. One thing that I love about being a Southerner, and I think it's changing now. Like we had killers just like anybody else, but like in the South, where I was from, we would shoot you in your head before we would let you starve.
Mm.
Like you wasn't gonna starve. Two things: you wasn't gonna starve and you wasn't gonna drown. We might pull you out the water and stab you, but we just certain things that we just didn't do. It was a certain ethic code. I remember growing up, man. When I was growing up, the dope dealers would hurt you or kill you if you sold dope to women, pregnant women. They,
Mhm.
they serve women. They serve women with pregnant
Uh-huh.
women or children. They would handle that. you know. And I know this was similar to most towns, and it ain't like that no more. If you was a little kid that played basketball, you had amnesty. You was safe. They protected you. I got in most of my trouble when I got older because folks was always like, "That's that music dude." Like I've been doing hip hop since I was in the sixth grade. When
Mhm.
they wasn't playing, they would only play rap when I started rapping. They only played it on WNPR from 2 to 6 on Sundays. You know what I'm saying? Like I had to search for hip hop. So like for me, man, growing up in Mississippi was beautiful, man. And I'm grateful because like even when I go and debate on CNN or wherever I debate from, and they say I'm from Mississippi, them white folks don't even want to debate with me about racism. They say they say
Right.
they say he know it. You know what I mean? But the truth is, I'll tell you something really funny, really quick about Mississippi. Um, I would always tell people that as I've traveled all the way, traveled all around the world, and the white people in Mississippi, if I had to choose, but I would always choose a Mississippi white person. And people ask me why is that? If I had to choose,
Wow.
it's because if they loved you, they would die for you. If they hate you, then they're gonna try to kill you. At least you know where you stand.
Mm.
That's
You
all I
know,
want from. That's all I want from anybody on this planet is the truth.
it's funny. When I was a kid, one of the like I had states that I would never travel to as an adult, and Mississippi was one of them. And one of the reasons why is because of the programming I got as a kid, slave movies and all the shit that you hear as far as racism in Mississippi scared you to death. We from Jersey, so it's like no, don't ever travel to Mississippi as a black person. Talk about that misconception. People up north are
Yeah, I've never seen a Klan member in a robe.
wow.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna be honest with you. The most racist place I've ever seen before is Boston, Massachusetts.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? And black people will tell you, like,
Yeah.
you know, it's some parts it's still some parts in Brooklyn. It's still some parts in Brooklyn that you can't walk in as a black person at night. And I lived in Harlem for 6 years. I know where those places are. You know, Mississippi just suffered from, and not saying that we don't have our problems. I wouldn't sit up here and say that, but we are dealing with history. I tell people this all the time when people complain about, the music that I used to make, and what people don't understand, a lot of that shit 10, 15, and in some cases 20 years old. And if you took a snapshot of you when you 10, 20 years ago, you probably wouldn't be so, be so proud of the things that you see. Most of the things that people talk about in Mississippi are stuff that happened 50, 60, 70 years ago, you know? And if you're talking about food, if you're talking about people, and the thing that I don't understand about our folks is I talked about the Black Exodus in a post that went viral just recently. And I was like, man, if you're not from the islands, you from the South.
Yeah.
And our people was either supposed to come back and teach or bring us back to the promised land. But people went to their different places and copped the same attitudes that the white folks copped about people who were below the Mason-Dixon line. When in actuality, that's where you're from. Music, samples, all of these things that people talk about from the South. Harlem for the most part is Mississippi up north. You know what I'm saying? The west side of Chicago and most of the south side of Chicago is Mississippi North. That's where our people went to. But some kind of way, what they say, the revolutionaries got a government job. We forgot who we were and what our responsibility is or was. That's how I am about rap. People try just because they perceive me to be conscious, they think that I'm gonna turn my nose up at these kids. No, I'm the dude that made play. I'm the dude that made, get down on the floor. Like I never turn my nose up from where I came from. Because the thing that people don't understand about me, man, conscious folks don't like me for the most part, or they scared of me. Them folks don't. And maybe with the exception of like Talib Kweli and Erica Badu and a few people like that, and Ninth Wonder, but Dave Chappelle. But for the most part, it's Tip, it's Jeezy, it's Snoop. Those are folks that donate. Those are folks that come and help me. Conscious folk don't like me, bro, and I didn't come from that. Like I don't want to be sitting around talking to people who are already enlightened. You're supposed to be out in the streets. If you look at the story of Jesus, Jesus was with the hoes and the thieves. It was the people that was behind the walls of the churches that put him down. You know what I'm saying? So like for me, bro, I love our people and I know why we act the way that we act. So I believe that God allowed me to be from Mississippi. And so I would never have y'all ever seen Captain America before?
Yep.
One of the most powerful lines came from Captain America. If y'all remember the story of Captain America, he was the smallest dude in the armed forces, period. Literally, little one. And he went to the scientists and asked him, like, why did you give me this power out of all of these strong men? And he said, because you know how it feels to be on the other end of the sword. So if I give you the sword before you swing it, you will always remember what it felt like to be on the other side. And that's the reason why I'm the man that I am, because I know how even people in the South feel about Mississippi. So God allowed me to be from the places where our people had the hardest struggle. But Minister Farrakhan said, but that's where the real leaders, that's the more pain you've gone through and you've been able to survive, makes you a better man.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the reason why I haven't gone crazy in hip hop. Dog, I've been through so much in hip hop, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I done seen so much, didn't have so many disappointments. I can't even sit up here and lie to y'all, man. Like, I'm grateful that, you know how y'all see a lot of artists that y'all knew from back in the days, and you walk up and see them and they ain't there no more.
Yeah.
Like, bro, I was really close to being that person, man, and I'm thankful that I still got my eyes. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad that I can still engage, bro. It's a blessing.
So the transition when you were making the hip hop music, then you kind of took a transition. What was the reason for that? Were you always kind of like that, or was it like a specific reason why you say, you know what, I want to kind of take this lane as opposed to continuing to rap about what I was rapping about before?
Tip said it better than anybody I've ever seen before. He said it on the Breakfast Club. I think Angela Yee asked him. She was like, "You're a pimp, you're a hustler, you're a revolutionary, you're a father, you're a role model. Like, which one is the real Tip?" And Tip said, "I'm all of them." That ain't like acting like you one thing is what's fake. For you to act like you a killer and you got a daughter and you don't make no song about love. You love your daughter. If you keeping it 100, like you said, why you don't make one song about your daughter? You go to church sometimes. Talk about that one time you went to church. Like, my thing is I don't think anything is wrong with hip hop. The only problem with hip hop is that we sold it to white people. So we spend more time trying to appease white people in white America instead of just making great music. You know what I'm saying? And allow it to fall where it is, bro. We have given our culture away. And I just think hip hop needs balance. And we're gonna go back to these kids when we talk about. I talked about this when I defended our First Amendment rights. People don't even know. I along with 3 others, we out debated Congress. People don't know that about our First Amendment rights. And I told him, if y'all want me to rap about roses, come plant some. If on our podcast, if on our radio stations, we applauded people who rapped about something else, our kids just want to be successful. I tell teachers that all the time. If you had a choice to work at McDonald's or sell dope, which one would you do? And most of the teachers said McDonald's, and I said that's why these kids don't listen to you, because you lying.
Mm-hmm.
Children do what is most successful, how they can get the bread. All of us are that way. But we look at our children different when they take the route that is the most successful. Why would they rap about something that ain't nobody buying? I told a dude that one time, I said, do they smoke meth around here? And he was like, nah. I said, do you sell meth? He was like, no. I said, why not? He said, because it don't sell.
Mm-hmm.
I said, all right, then. So if we applauded, if we pushed more, and the thing is, between y'all, one of the reasons why I rapped about something different is because I knew I had bread, And I knew that kids, if I rapped about something, if kids saw the success, they see the cars, they see me looking good and eating muscles and shit, that they would automatically connect it with my rap record. But dude, I do so well in business. That shit don't be about rap. But they just want success. They just want to be around something successful. We just got to show better, bro. And I don't mean that means that we got to start rapping about what we rap. If it's in our neighborhoods, we rap about it. But it's more to us than just that. I just think we should broaden the scope and applaud those who decide to broaden the scope.
Indeed, I want to transition a little bit into the recent actions we've seen in Minnesota, and then the Black Army Lieutenant Karan Azario that got maced in December that we're starting to see now. And we're starting to begin to see the protest again and starting to see people get revved up. And I can't help but to feel like this is like, I don't know, like the.
Say what you mean. Say what you mean. I know what you mean. Say what you mean. Just
they're trying to portray the victim role so heavy on us on the TV, like we have no control or no power. And this is the new wave, and it's kind of frustrating to see. And then we see our celebrities and our officials telling us we need to vote, and then we vote, or the black people, or we as a black people go out and vote for Joe Biden, and that was nothing but an extension off of Obama, in my opinion. And we hear more of the same, more of the rhetoric, more of this, more of that. And it seems like we're bringing a knife to a motherfucking AK-47 fight, and we're just in a completely different game.
To a nuclear bomb fight. No, I disagree. No. We not bringing a knife. We bringing a peace sign.
Bro, oh my Lord, 2 fingers.
Like, dog, bro. But be more specific. Make sure you say some entertainers. If you go and look when we get off of this interview, y'all go look on what I posted on Instagram this morning. I talked about the same thing. And I don't know if y'all been noticing this, bro. I used to be in the forefront of just about everything that happens with our people.
Yeah.
And I stepped back because I think we're going down the wrong road. Like, I don't agree with all the stuff that we're doing. To be honest with you, on paper, the vice president and the president did more to hurt black and brown people, especially as it pertains to the school to prison pipeline or the prison industrial system as a whole, then Trump was a lot of rhetoric. Let's be clear. He said a lot of dumb shit, but I'm talking about on paper, Joe Biden is the worst, bro. On paper, I'm talking about not emotional stuff like, speeches, and I'm talking about actual laws passed and written up. Like, Kamala, I know how people are all emotional about her. Look at her history as it pertains to her own people. I wasn't one of those people, bro. But what I decided to do is I decided to sit back. Because the thing is, man, is I believe we have this church mentality. And we just think that a white dude gonna come out the sky one day and save us. I study white people, man. White people come from cold climates, bro, and they come from a cold rock where they have to import 70% of everything that it takes for us to or for a human to survive. These white people are genetically at war, bro. That's what we don't understand. When they see our black bodies, black and brown people can take over this earth if we just continue reproducing at the rate that we do. When they look at us, they see a threat. We don't even know that we are at war, bro. So it's like for us to sit back and think that they're going to convict their uncles, their sisters, and their brothers, even when they wrong. Like, come on, that's stupid. Like, we've seen over and over again that they're going to lie. Like, watch this, bro. This is going to trip y'all out. This happens just about every time an innocent black man, woman, or child is killed. They do 4 things every fucking time. Watch this. This is going to trip y'all out. They lie. If you remember when Mike Brown was murdered, they changed the story 3 times before they even did a proper investigation. I'm talking about just made up shit, right? They lie. They vilify. And they say dumb shit. Like, oh, he smokes weed. There ain't no excuse for you to kill somebody. If somebody isn't running towards you with a gun or a knife drawn, there's no reason for you to even draw your pistol.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, black cops don't make a mistake. If it was really a mistake, we don't make a mistake when we shoot white kids. Shoot white kids. They don't make the same mistake on their kids. So it's not a mistake. But we are the fools to think that they're ever going to do any better. I have this saying, guys, that God is really playing. If God is doing this to you, we'll say, God don't love us. You know, God is making us. No, God telling you, fool, turn your head. And that will stop. But we keep doing the same thing, thinking people who have it stuck. Think about this. Take all emotions away. Nearly every place that an old white man has gone on this earth, he's created mischief, pain, death, rape, the most vile things on this planet. I tell people all the time, laws in America were not made for a good reason. Laws in America are what white men use to gain power. And so they make rules so you won't get power the same way. Didn't they speed? Didn't they murder? Don't they still murder? Don't they still speed? Don't they still drive fast? Yep. If we're not supposed to drive fast, why cops always running up and down the street going 400 miles an hour?
Flying.
You know, they say in their Bible, thou shall not kill. They don't say, you know, exceptions to this. It says thou shall not kill, period. I tell people that all the time. We always talk about laws and politics and all that. There's already laws in the books that say that you're not supposed to kill innocent people. They just don't believe that you and I are worthy of those laws. And it's not going to stop. And I say this all the time. If y'all ever been following me, you know this. It's only two things that white society respects. It's the loss of life or the loss of money. If you're not doing anything to affect their lives or their money, you ain't doing shit. And the truth is, man, like all this debating, that's why if you notice, y'all don't see me on CNN and all that kind of stuff no more. Because the last time I went to CNN, I asked them, I said, what do you want me to say that I didn't say when Mike Brown was murdered? Trayvon Martin, even Emmett Till, what do you want me to say? I've been telling you the same thing over and over again. But people listen when you smack them in their mouth, or you take their house, or you take their car, or you take their freedom away. But their parents not going to do that. People that look like them not going to do that. You have to do that.
Yeah, you went deep, very deep with that one. What was the nature of your dispute with Life Gender? Was it the same type of issue?
Don't do that.
Okay.
Don't do that.
I'm gonna talk about the NBA, and I want to talk about the NBA. And when at the time George Floyd passed away, or George got murdered, excuse me, and they boycotted. They sat back and said, "No, we're not going to play the game." And we talked about it on the podcast. It was such a dope thing, and we love to see it that they finally took control. And then a couple of days later, they went back and played. It was like, that kind of hurt. Talk about that, the importance and just the power of the athlete. We hear some people or the white folks saying, shut up and dribble. And then we're seeing some people resonate to the athletes, but some of the messages are kind of convoluted too. So talk about the power of the athlete in today's world.
Let me be clear with you about something, bro. First of all, I think we put too much pressure on athletes and singers, and that's the reason why I don't think we will ever get anywhere politically. I don't even believe that I'm qualified to speak for Black people the way that I do. We like somebody asked me about reparations recently, and I said I'm not an economist. You know, for you to even ask me that question on behalf of my people, and you know people listen to me, even asking me that question is flawed. Like I think athletes and artists should be the people. They should literally be the cheerleaders to round people up and take them to intelligent people. Have you ever noticed, bro, when I'm on TV and I'm debating against white people, they don't ever bring Kid Rock or Eminem or any white artist to debate against me. They bring lawyers, teachers, economists, engineers. We were socially engineered, bro, into our neighborhoods. Black people are so intelligent, they don't even understand when they call it a trap How that is literally engineering. They engineered our hoods to be one way in, one way out. It's a trap.
Mm-hmm.
And then we want basketball players who play basketball all their damn life, and rappers who rap all of their life, and pimps and hustlers, and we elect the wrong people and then get mad when we don't get no results. But what I will tell you as it pertains to revolution, I said that today, and y'all gonna trip when you go back and look at my Instagram. I said it on Instagram. I said, you know, white people will put Black Lives Matter. If it came down to it, they will put a black fist in the middle of the NBA floor if black bodies got out there and continued to make them millions and billions of dollars. True revolution is sitting your ass down and hurting their pocket. I already told you there's two things. You hurt their bodies or you hurt their pockets. As long as they get up and play, that is not revolution. It looks good because it's the cool thing, and being woke now is sort of cool. So, put somebody's name on the t-shirt. We just saw it, man, in the same place. Murder. Man, them white folks don't care nothing about no Black Lives Matter being on no basketball court. But take billions of dollars away from a city. That's what you do. It's so crazy, man. Speaking of basketball, the LA Clippers, it was so close, man. When Chris Paul was playing for the Clippers, and then they just turned their shirts around. But the thing is, we can't just put them on the cross by themselves without support. Let's say if those boys did decide to sit down, I think we as a community, even if it's just $1, put $1 to every black person. If we put up $1, I said that about Malcolm and Martin's family. Mm-hmm. We should give $1 and take 50 cents, give it to Martin's family, and 50 cents, give it to Malcolm's family. And do you know how much money that would be if everybody did it? So if somebody is going to sacrifice you, we got to protect them. We do that shit in rap. The rappers that really stand up for us. They did it for me when I got to fighting with them cops in DC. Ricky Smiley and Headcrack was the only one that stood up for me. Black media turned their back on me because I couldn't say nothing because I had to go to court. So I couldn't tell my side of the story till 6 months later when it was really out of the news. But I could be convicted on anything that I said. But news or whatever was saying what they said, man. And we sit around and it's like a video game. We sit around and watch how people fall. So let's say if these basketball players do put their money up on the line, what are we going to do as a community to subsidize for them? We didn't take care of Muhammad Ali like we should have. Mm-hmm. Look at the artists who stand up the most and decide that they really want to support our community. We don't really look out for them financially. So I'll just say the real revolution is not playing at all and getting your own league, going to schools that look like you, being around people that look. All we really got to do for revolution is do what white folks do. Do what the Asian community does. Do what the Russian community does. In all major cities, you got just about every subsection of people living around their people. You got little Italy, little Russia. Why don't we have little Africa?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what do you think about the leadership, though? Because a lot of people have become, untrustworthy of the leadership because a lot of times leadership, either one, get killed or they betray the aspirations of the people. So who you think is qualified to step up to be a leader for Black people to lead them?
I don't know. I don't complain much because I believe that true power is in economics and guns. To be honest with you, if you look at other subsections of America, they don't trip on politics that much because the only thing you really can affect is taxes, and they'll just start charging us more for their products. Mm-hmm. I'm just gonna be real with y'all. Most Negroes want to be white and want to admit it. They want to be white folks, and they don't like what's happening to the people, but they don't want to let go of their white toys. They don't want to let go of their NBA, their NFL. They don't want to let go of their race. They don't want to let go of that white girl, that white dude. They don't want to let white folk go. And the people can't stand you, for the most part. If something happened to a dog in America got more power and rights than the average black man or woman does. And as far as our leaders, the reason why we got weak leadership is because we keep picking the same type of person. You got to make white people make their leaders. They mold their leaders from children. We were talking about this, man. Like, we got to find us a little kid, man, that got the gift, the gab, and say, okay, we're going to take care of you for the rest of your life. And this is what we want for the community. And if you don't, once you get in office, don't do it, we're going to come see you. Like, there is no savior that's going to come out and do for our community. We have to do it. Like, if you wanted police violence or the violence against black people in America to stop, why don't you do the same thing you do when somebody don't bring you your dope back? Why don't you do the same thing when somebody disrespect you in your hood?
Yeah.
But you let them white folk do whatever they want to you. We so bold and we so gangster, and until something is happening to our children, then we want to wait on Jesus and we want to take it to trial. This on us, bro. If we treated each other and really loved our children and loved our women and loved each other the way that they love their folks, people would be too afraid to touch our children.
Did you see the movie American Skin by any chance?
I did. I saw almost 3 years ago.
How do you feel about that and the end of that one? We always often have a debate about that.
I don't want to talk about that because the maker of the movie is my friend.
Okay.
And I actually went to him about how I felt about that movie. I actually got into an argument in that movie why the movie was going.
I can see.
I literally stood up in the movie and was like, fuck that. I literally stood up in the middle of the movie in front of everybody and said, fuck that. It's not my responsibility to criticize somebody else. That's why I created a banner vision. I'm not going to talk about nobody else's movie. I'm not going to talk about no other artist and what another artist doesn't do. I'm going to do it myself. I had the power to do for self. You know what I'm saying? So I'm doing it now. I'm in the process of making cartoons. Because the sad thing about it is we can't even win in our own movies. We can't even win in our own dreams. I remember I did this. If y'all ever get a chance to, man, go and look up the Black Fist video that I did for my song off the God Box, Black Fist.
Mm-hmm.
Like, one thing about a banner vision, black folks gonna win every time in my movie. There was a movie that just came out recently where both of the stars died. I mean, we don't even win in our own movies that we produce and we create because we spend so much time trying to make white people comfortable. I don't see many black movies. I see a couple of them, but most of them are like Frantz Fanon said. They're black people with white minds. That movie American Skin was the closest thing that I've seen to a mainstream win. I just don't believe we finished it. That was my biggest criticism. If it wasn't, it was that close. And again, he is a great dear friend of mine, and he knows how I feel. I called him and we had a long talk, and literally what he told me, bro, he was like, man, it's already hard enough to make films, but it's like the crazy thing is, even with the movies that I'm about to make, are black people gonna support her? Because the truth is, a lot of these dudes who really want to make the films, just think about this. All right, I'll give you an example. This is a better example without me criticizing somebody else's art. I had some of my posts had gotten taken down off of Facebook, and my fans got mad. I'm telling you, them David Banner fans, them motherfuckers went crazy. And they was like, "Why aren't you mad?" I said, if a white boy came on an app that I created, whether black people were wrong or right, and talked about my people, I was taking shit down too. See, we look at stuff as if we wouldn't do the same thing. White people, Marcus Garvey said this. Marcus Garvey said, I don't have a problem with racism. Basically, he said he had a problem with white supremacy, not racism. He said, because you're supposed to be racist. Lions are supposed to take care of lions first. Tigers are supposed to take care of tigers first. But the problem is, it's not white people racism. It's black people's lack of racism. We don't take care of ourselves first. You feel me?
Do you think the term white supremacy plays detrimental on the black subconscious mind?
Yeah, I actually say white insecurity. I don't, because they're not supreme.
Word.
Yeah, they're not supreme.
Indeed, we're in the building with David Banner right now on the podcast. Go ahead and hit that like button, that 5-star rating. Having a great conversation, as we always do, man. Definitely appreciate the brother's time. As always, he is comfortable in his home doing this motherfucking thing. It's a beautiful thing to see, man. The brother at peace, indeed.
Good?
No, man, it was crazy. I was actually taking a piss, but I didn't want y'all to hear it. So
that's all good.
I'm glad that you took that little. I'm glad you took that little commercial moment for me, so people will hear me take a piss, man.
We understand how the brothers work, man. We know how this shit go. Indeed, man. Appreciate this brother, man. Time, man. Sure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I wanted to tell y'all, bro. I almost pissed on myself while I was doing y'all podcast. So that was history.
It's all good. He politely put it on mute and shit. Was like, all right, cool. Now I'm bro. Hold on for 1 second.
But I'm gonna tell you how good y'all are, bro. You took the opportunity to take a commercial break right at the right time, bro.
Oh yeah, man, look, we learn a lot of doing this shit on these video interviews. We know when motherfuckers need a minute to chill out for a second.
Yeah. Thank you, bro.
No doubt, bro. Thank you.
I want to talk about trap music real quick. Do you think? Well, I know the answer, but you can answer for the people. You're one of the originators. You should be given credit to being one of the originators of trap music because you created. You worked Rubber Band Man for T.I. and a lot of other, beats that you made. Would you say that you're one of the originators of trap music?
Trap, the actual music itself, like the like the beats. Yes, of course. I don't know what our hang up is with history. I think that's going to be one of the detriments for us. We feel like giving people their credit will take away from us, and it don't. It's a lot of stuff that I created and I started, bro. I know I wasn't the first person to put a tag, like an actual tag on my beat, putting your name in front of a beat. If I'm not the first, I'm definitely the second or third, but I think I'm the first person that started putting your name, not a tag, but your name in front of a beat. It's a lot of stuff I don't get credit for, bro. But like we were Southerners, we were raised that you don't brag on yourself. That's for another man or woman to do. But I made a lot of things happen in hip hop that people don't talk about. And especially with Southerners, but especially these kids, people will take our innovations, but then they don't want to give people credit, bro. Now I always say this, man. I watched the whole industry jack the Migos style, jack the way that they rapping. And then they get on TV and act like they didn't just rip them boys' whole style off. And we just can't say, hey man, them folk dope, bro. Like I give you an example, bro. Beats by the Pound did all of the original No Limit music. I personally think them boys should be on the same level of Timbaland and the Neptunes. Like what Master P did, however you gotta give his business acumen credit. Them boys put out more music. They changed the whole way everybody did music. Matter of fact, I've never seen a group of artists who had their own section. I never forget this. It was country, it was blue, rhythm and blues, there was rap, and then it was No Limit. Damn. No Limit had their own section in our record stores, bro. But we don't even artists couldn't even fathom putting out 2 albums in 1 year. You know, it would take artists 3-4 years, 2 years to put out albums. Like, and people took their work acumen without giving them credit in history, bro. And I don't think that's fair. So as it pertains to me, the funny thing is it's not the responsibility for people from New York or from LA or Chicago. Southerners don't give Southerners their credit. And so how is anybody else going to give us credit when we don't pay homage? Like, bro, I live in Atlanta. I barely ever hear Outkast. You're not gonna. I barely ever hear Little John. I barely ever hear Usher. You know, you hear Usher a little bit more because he, you know, but like you shouldn't be able to go to Mississippi and not hear David Banner at least one time on the radio a week. Like, you gonna go to LA and hear some Dre or Snoop somewhere, whether it's in the restaurants, on the radio. When you go to New York, you're gonna hear a little Tribe Called Quest, maybe a lot, maybe not a lot, but you know, you're gonna hear a Run DMC instrumental. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what's our disconnect with history and us wanting to give it up. I don't know if y'all ever noticed this, man, but I would always, in my music, I would always give it up to the West Coast. And the reason why I would always give it up to the West Coast, the Bay Area, you know, because they came right before us. And I watched for a long time how they tried to sort of like just scrub the West Coast out. And I was like, no, man, I'm not gonna let them do that to West Coast music. Because as soon as hip hop moves on from the South, I want somebody to come back and remember us. I want somebody to give us credit. You know what I'm saying? And give us love. And if I can show why I'm popular and why I'm hot, then I can give it up to the West Coast. And now they don't need that no more. They back up on their feet. But like, I always tried to give reverence to history. I've always tried to give reverence to those before and show some love to the kids. You know, we just gotta treat each other better, bro. That's it.
Indeed. I would love to hear, because you started off the interview saying that you're probably in the best space of your life. And that was great to hear. Talk about that journey, coming from a couple years ago where you were beginning to really come into your own till right now at the pinnacle of your life, if you don't mind sharing.
Well, if you want to support me, go to davidbanner.com, go buy some stuff. What happened with me, bro, is that I kept really quiet. I was an independent artist a whole lot longer than what people knew. I was off Universal way before, maybe 7 years before people actually knew that I was, because I understand the psychological place that our people are in. You know, we connect with what white people say, you know, independent. You know, these kids are a lot better now than we were, but to say that you're black and independent, you know, was almost like a double negative because of the way that we have allowed people to make us feel. Even though we anything that has to do with work, for the most part, our people created, but that's another thing. But what I realized, I went to Steve Ricken, and I respect Steve so much. I told Steve, you know, I had talked to the head of Universal, and he said, David Banner, you a smart man. I'm gonna tell you what's really going on. And he broke down how record companies really work. I don't know what made that white dude want to tell me the truth, but he sat down and broke it. He showed me how they work records, how the budgets are commingled, the whole nine, bro. And so they owed me money. And I went to Steve and said, I don't even want the money, bro. Just because me and Steve had a pretty good relationship. I was like, bro, I can't be you, signed to you. And he looked at me and he said, David Banner, are you sure? I said, yeah. Because what people don't even remember is Like a Pimp is what thrusted SRC into fame. And then right after that happened, then Akon blew all the way up, and then it kept going and kept going and kept going. But people forget that. It was Like a Pimp that put SRC on his feet after Steve Ricken had left Loud. And nobody ever talks about that either. But because I remember in the New York paper, what it said Steve Rifkin is having a banner of a year. And but I went to Steve and I asked Steve, I said, Steve, man, I want to be free, bro. Like, I can't be you signing you. He said, are you sure? He asked me again. I said, yes, I'm sure. He said it'd be done today. He let me go that day. Okay. And so what I did was, what people don't know is most of my records, I started them and worked them independently myself. And people used to say I was stupid because Universal would spend $100,000 working my record, but I would do more with my independent money than they $100,000 with working my record myself, because I understood that I wasn't their focus. You know, in record labels, the truth is they focus on the people that they have either invested the most money in or that is earning them the most money. And wherever you fall in that, you got to think. You got Cash Money, you got Wayne, you got Nelly, you got Akon. You know, you imagine where I fell, you know, in the grand scheme of things. And I'm not emotional about that. I used to tell people that all the time. I said, why you hating? You need to be supporting the artist that's keeping the lights on in the building. Nelly and Cash Money was paying the bills for everybody for a long time. And it was the reason why y'all got them big ass deals. And you need to go get Nelly and Cash Money a hug. You know, depending on what label you was on, you need to go hug Chris Brown. You need to go hug Master P. You know what I'm saying? So what I ended up doing, bro, was I continued working my records. I've always had a personal relationship with, you know, the video independent producers that even the labels, you know, hired, and radio promoters and all of those types of people. I stayed in contact with those people and I kept working with the same people. And I remember one time, no bullshit, I had 5 videos on MTV. And nobody ever noticed it, but nobody ever said nothing to it. I had 5 videos playing like on MTV, bro, real live. Yeah. And like even now, bro, if you go look at the God boxes that I sold on my last album, people thought it was the record sales on my album. It wasn't the record sales, it was the God boxes. Bro, I ain't gonna tell you, I don't want like people count my money, but we were selling the God boxes at $250. And what the God box was, I put everything in the box that helped make me be conscious that I could. I put it, I did and one website said that the God boxes were actually one of the best marketing ploys in hip hop history ever. And I told him, I said, it wasn't a ploy. The reason why they sold so well is because I really wanted to help people become conscious. And I think people felt that. And I put it all in the box and it sold. So like what I'll tell you about me, man, is that I've been independent a long time, man, and just shut up. You know, most people, when they get off a label, man, fuck the label, man, I'm free, man, fuck. No, I didn't say shit. Yeah. I just kept on letting people, and a lot of the people at MTV, they thought I was still signed to Universal, and Universal didn't say nothing because they was getting credit for it, but shit, I wrote that shit for like 7-8 years.
Hell yeah.
Can you talk about Nori, man? I know you had a lot of great things said about Nori and him reaching out and investing in you, or at least believing in you early on.
Yeah. Noriega was one of the few people who liked the South before it was popular. He was one of the New Yorkers who realized him and Cypher Sound. Cypher Sound never really gets the credit for playing a lot of the Southern records. I actually found out that he had to play a lot of records because when he was DJing in the tunnel, he couldn't play the hit records that Flex was gonna play. So he had to find the unconventional jamming ass records so he could still have a live ass set, right? But like Nori loved, I was in a group called Crooked Letters. Nori loved our music. He even, I don't know if y'all remember that big ass $1 million video he shot with the cheetahs and stuff running with Pharrell in Egypt. Yep. Nori asked them to give us $70,000 off of that video budget just so we could shoot the Firewater record that we had with him.
Oh,
I never forget that, man. Actually, the first beat I ever sold as a producer, major beat I ever sold, was to Noriega. And he still to this day, man, he loves me, like, and has always supported me. He's a Nori kid. I don't believe Nori really know how to lie. Nori one of them people that just he say what he feel. You know what I'm saying? Bro, my bro Tip is the same way. Like, they just gonna say what they feel. Like, it ain't no if it's fuck you, it's fuck you. If it's I love you, I love you. And Nori saw something in me when I was homeless in New York that he saw, as a millionaire. And I love him and I appreciate it. And I just want people from the South to know that Nori wasn't this, the group of people that really hated on us and didn't like our music, but then when we got hot, just jumped on. Like, Nori loved Southern music. He used to jump up on the damn table whenever 808s came on. And so I appreciate him.
indeed, man. We definitely appreciate your time, Mr. David Banner, on the Hip Hop That's a podcast going for, I don't know how long we've been going for, about an hour now.
Yeah.
Indeed, man. And
I owe y'all that, man. Just so the viewers will know, man. I was late. I had an interview right before now, man, and caught the Holy Ghost and started running my mouth about politics, and I just lost time, and I wanted to be sure to give you all everything that y'all, since y'all were patient with me. I wanted to pay it forward, man, and I hope in some way, in every interview, bro, I try to give something that I never gave before, because for some reason people do listen to me. And I just wanted to make sure that y'all patience with me was worth it, man. And I thank you. And y'all just know, go to davidbanner.com and support. We got a very successful clothing line. We working on movies. We working on cartoons. I'm making moves right now, bro, that when people see what I do, they're not going to believe it. I even told my mom. I know my mom love and support me and my biggest fan. Mm-hmm. But even my mom don't believe some of the stuff that I'm doing right now. And I just want hip hop to know as a whole, I got to honestly say that I'm one of the few people that hip hop allowed to grow up. I don't know what I did. I don't know what made me worthy. But even the fact that I'm still putting out records, there were people who was 30 times bigger than me that can't get their albums away no more, And for some reason, people fuck with me, and I appreciate you all deeming me worthy on your platform, and all the people that follow y'all. I just like to thank y'all, man, and I really do appreciate it.
Brother, this platform is open to you anytime you want it, and that's a fact. We definitely appreciate it.
Hold on. Well, since it's open, let me say this one more. Let me say something real quick.
Go to work.
Cracker. I just want to say something.
Motherfucking David Banner podcast. Go to davidbanner.com. Go check out the great merch and information. You still got the God Box to sell, right? That's the last album you dropped, correct?
Yeah, man. The God Box 2 is about to come out, man. I'm actually going to drop it this summer, and people not going to believe this shit, man.
You produced it yourself too?
Well, a lot of it. We got Mad Lib, we got E. Jones out of Ninth Wonder Camp. Me, bro, we got so many people on the, I don't even want to tell y'all who I got on the album. I got a hip hop icon on this album that rap there. I don't even want to let it out of the bag, but people are not going to expect this album from me. And man, hopefully we could get together, man, and I could play it for y'all. I played the album for Mad Lib because Mad Lib did a beat on the album, and Mad Lib jaw was on the ground. He like I this I can't wait to see because I got to be honest with y'all, man, and Charlamagne actually said it, man, that the first God Box album, I just got to be real with y'all. I was really disappointed in hip hop's reception to it, and I was even more disappointed now that everybody is woke, that I haven't heard one person come back and say, well, David Banner tried to tell us. I had the album, but everything everybody's talking about was on the God Box 1, and people just act like that shit didn't happen. I can't wait to see how hip hop reacts, because what I notice about hip hop talks a lot of shit about what they want, but they really don't want that. Because if you get what you ask for, then you don't have nothing to talk about. I'm on their motherfucking ass, bro. And I can't wait to see people's reaction. I can't wait to see what people got to say. And they acted like the God box didn't even exist. The God box was like a roach in the room. Like, and Charlamagne was the only person. He came and said the God box may be one of the best rap albums of all time. Then people rushed to start talking about it a little bit after he said that, man. But people don't want good shit, because good shit don't sell like bad shit does. But motherfucker gonna have to deal with this one. Y'all wait. Yeah, I can't wait till y'all come back and see me in person and be like, Banner, you told us. Yeah, I'm on their motherfucking ass.
You let us know when, and we there, brother. We definitely appreciate you.
Bless y'all both, man, and thank y'all, man, again for being patient with me, bro.
Likewise, man. We appreciate you. Thank you, sir. David Banner Podcast. Salute.
Peace.